Hickok 45. You see those beautiful lever guns we're going to talk about today? You know what though, I think before we talk, I've got to shoot one of them. How about this one? Ring the gong. Did I miss? Did I actually miss? That's amazing. Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple of popular lever guns. Well, maybe that wasn't exactly correct. One pretty popular one, and another one that's a little, I don't know, how can I call it popular? Pretty cool, but it's not popular because I don't know how many people own the things. They're kind of expensive. But you all have requested, I've had, oh, I don't know, 3 to 5 people in the last, well, since we got a hold of this Bighorn Armory 50 or, 500, I've had several people say, hey, compare that with the guide gun, or which would you rather own, or which would you rather buy? And it's been seeping into my thick skull that we ought to do a comparison of these two. And I hadn't had this one out in a good while. And so guess what? Today, look at the title. We're going to compare these two for you, okay? If it's of any use to you, we're going to do that. So we'll shoot them both. I really wasn't going to shoot that one right away, but I couldn't resist. It's hard to resist a lever gun. So we're going to do that. Now this one I've had, I knew you were going to ask. I can't remember. Well, I know I do. Yeah, I do, because my mother was sick up in northern Kentucky in Cincinnati. I was traveling up there to help take care of her at the time. That's right, I do remember. It was 1899. It was 1999. I bought this in a little gun shop in Hendersonville, up around Rivergate, if you're familiar with Nashville at all, okay? And on Lebanon Road. And I'd wanted one for a long time. Walked in there, they had 2 of them. And I'll never forget it. Guide gun, 4570. And I'll never forget the guy working there at the time. He acted like, well, you sure you want that? Those kick a lot. He was treating me like a little kid. It was kind of funny. I said, I think I can handle a 4570. At least the 4.5 I have at home, I'm able to handle. So I bought it anyway. Didn't necessarily want the porting, but I bought it. They're hard to find used because this is a JM model, of course. And then this is the Bighorn Armory. You've seen it recently, I guess. The 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum lever gun based on the 1892 Winchester and the 1886 Winchester. It splits the difference, hence 89, model 89, spike driver. I've not driven any spikes with it, but I think it would do the job. Pretty cool gun. Now this one I didn't buy. This was a gift. We're always transparent about that. The first video on this, we of course told you we bought it. Or we didn't buy it. We had it given to us by Bighorn Armory, actually. And a little bit about that, since there's a little talk about that lately. We generally don't accept free guns unless they're from a gun shop. Okay, or something we don't review. We don't review gun shops, we don't review ammo, we don't review gun rights organizations. Anything that we take support from is something we don't review, obviously. That's just the way we've always operated and always will. But this one, sometimes there's a gray area, and it's like if there's some firearm, maybe it's a Howdah pistol, or something like this, that it's just, there's no competition for that. And these people will contact us and say, would you like us to send you a gun, do a review? Yeah, we might want to do that. Wouldn't be a bad idea. But then, you're thinking about it, well, yeah, you're going to get maybe 1 million or 5 million views, free advertising on this gun if it looks decent. Now, if it doesn't function, it's negative advertising, or it's not advertising, but negative publicity on it. But anyway, there's a lot of people out there trying to take advantage, or trying to, not in a negative way, they're smart, every week, every day, trying to send us things to do reviews on, which we don't generally accept. And but anyway, it's kind of a gray area there. So okay, I said finally, yeah, you need it back. We're going to give you a lot of free exposure on this thing. I don't know if I really need one or want it desperately, but if you don't need it back, we'll do something with it. But anyway, that's how it ended up with us. And but one thing we decided not to do is to never take a firearm from manufacturers again. So we don't do that now. It's got to be from a gun shop. or some entity, a distributor, something like that, for in exchange for a plug or whatever, publicity for them, or a, exposure for them. But we just don't take firearms from manufacturers. And one reason I want to bring that up is I get an offer almost every day for an AR-15 from some AR-15 manufacturer. They want to send it to us, give it to us, do a review. They even want to pay sometimes, We don't do that. So you'll know, we always are very transparent. We let you know in every video, and we always have, where a firearm comes from. Is it mine? Is it one we borrowed from buds, which is a lot of them, and of course they go back. Is it one someone gave us? We tell you that too, okay? So you'll see a few, back through the years of the list there, the 1,500 videos. There's a few that were from manufacturers, but they were kind of that gray area again, and we didn't feel like it was a competition issue. So anyway, but we're not even going to do that anymore. So you'll know it's come from a gun shop or distributor, somebody like that. Never the manufacturer, whatever it is. Okay, so please, AR-15 builders, don't bother to fill up my inbox on Facebook. Thank you. So we're always transparent, and we always will be. So just so you all know that. Again, I know there's been some talk about that, but we're fine with the way we operate, and we want to be independent of anybody's influence, and we are, and we always have been. It's just the way it is. Okay, so with that said, I think with all that being said, it's time to shoot. Like I said, you all have asked me about these two, and maybe doing a comparison or which I'd rather have, and I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to come to a conclusion today, because I think I have. Now sometimes I'm not 100% sure, and I'm honest about that too. I'd like two of something, or I like them both, but there's, like every firearm, there's negatives and there's positives about it. And so it's like trying to decide between your kids or something. And who wants to do that? So they're both basically big thumpers, okay? They're really considered, I think, I saw someone put it really well in an article I was reading, I think on this one, that this and the guide guns and these sorts of firearms, 45-70s, shorter ones, they're basically mid-range thumpers. That's a great way to state it, because they're going to be hard-hitting. They're generally convenient. They're not really big old long things. They're not light necessarily, but man, whatever you hit, they're going to hit it hard. Now they got a big bullet trucking along, heavy and large, and so their trajectory is going to be a little bit like that as compared with a 270 or something like that, right? Or what, 6.5 Creedmoor? These are kind of the antithesis of a 6.5 Creedmoor, and so that's the main reason they're not considered a long-range rifle. It's not that they won't shoot long-range. You just have to have, you generally need a bigger sight. Think about the long-range competition and buffalo hunting and all that sort of thing. If you got a vernier sight on the back, you can crank up really high and get the sight adjusted correctly. Now, there's no real range limitation, as compared with a lot of other rifles. It's just as far as picking, like with an AR-15, I could back up here and see the hill way over there at 230 yards and pop something. Then I could pop a couple things here and then go back over there and pop something, with a 5.56 round. I would really not even have to change my sight picture, because it's such a flat shooter, all right? Or Creedmoor or anything like that, 270 at 230, even 300 yards probably, not much difference on a reasonably sized target. Now you get into a 45-70 or a 500, even though it's a big, round, big bullet with a lot of energy, it is going to have some trajectory. You're going to have to have sights that will allow you to do that, all right? So mid-range thumper, I like that phrase. They're both for that. Now you choose what you want to do with it. You want to hunt hogs or something, deer, anything, pretty good sized game. These things would work. 45-70, how can you argue with a 45-70? Okay, I was shooting, as I opened here, I was shooting some of this Federal, I think it's 300 grain. Yeah, 300 grain soft points where I was shooting, and then some of my hand loads there next to them. Big old bullet, big old cartridge. Don't you love it? I do. And then same with the 500. I mean, that's almost 50 caliber. 500, isn't it? Help me out there, mathematicians. Yeah. So they're both big old cartridges, and I think, as I said in one of the videos on the 500, that the case capacity is roughly the same. So even though it's shorter than the 45-70, It's bigger around. Got it? So they're just big old rounds, you know, big cases, big bullets, heavy bullets, and great mid-range thumpers, as I say, as the writer said. So that's kind of their purpose. If you got something you need to knock down and without much question, either one's going to do the job. All right. So what else does that leave? Well, what do you think about the looks of them? This is the Marlin guide gun again, and for those who don't know, maybe. This is based on what, the Model 95, Marlin. Been around a long time, and in a shortened barrel. It's just a handy little rifle. This one holds 4+1, 4 in the magazine, okay? +1 in the chamber. So it's not a high capacity rifle by any stretch. Now, this one holds 7+1. It has the advantage there in terms of capacity. It's got the full length magazine, which I wish this one did. I'm not sure why Marlin doesn't do that, you know. It would hold at least one more round. But again, they're basically hunting rifles, and so, you know, it's not a high capacity game generally. I'm not a hunter, but y'all know what I'm talking about there. So capacity wise, you know, you're going to have some advantage with the Bighorn Armory. Quality wise, I think the Marlin, this is an older Marlin, I think it's made just fine. I mean, the fit and finish, you look at that fore-end and everything, it's fine. Now this bluing is me. I scratched the gun there. There's a little history there. That was on a zombie hunt down at 10 Outdoors place. You might remember that. That was years ago. And I had that thing on my shoulder and it was scraping against my ammo or gun or something on my belt. So I haven't reblued it. I probably won't. I just kind of, I don't know what, I used some really fine paper on, sandpaper I think in there, and just got the gouge out of it. But you know, it's got character. It's a character scratch. But it's made well. It's got good looking wood. I've got the limb sabers on both of them to lengthen them a little bit. But I think the quality is fine. I don't recall ever having any trouble with it. You've seen it in 2 or 3 videos probably along the way. And maybe I'll try to link to all these videos we're doing with both of these firearms in the description. Okay, remind me, sometimes I forget. So quality and fit is fine on it, and it's fine on this. You know, the lever, I don't know, it wants to kind of drop on me. I don't know if that's just the way it's supposed to be, or it's just not broken in yet as well as it will be, don't know. But by and large, it seems like it's made very, very, very well. Okay. Now, price-wise, big difference. Expense and operating the two. For one thing, $45.70 is going to be a little less money. I did a little searching around in prepping for this video using AmmoSeek. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You can plug that in and just put in a caliber or something, and it'll tell you where all the ammo is and what the price is per round and all that kind of thing. I use it occasionally because I do actually have to buy some ammo, some oddball stuff, whatever. And what is it? I think the 45-70 rounds were running around $1.25 a round. I mean, depending on your quantity and the type of round it is, jacketed or whatever it is, but somewhere in the vicinity, it looked like it averaged out about $1.25 a round. You can check it out, see. And then the 500 though was up and around the area of $1.60, that kind of thing per round. You know, so it's a little more expensive to shoot, maybe $1.75. So it just depends on the ammo, of course, but it's going to cost you a little bit more for the ammo. All right. Now, if you've got the pistol, the revolver, that might make this more inviting, this Bighorn Armory. But now that's another area of expense, isn't it? Because you know from the first 2 or 3 videos we've done with this that it's been in that it's an expensive rifle. And I forget exactly, it's like $2,500 to $3,000, depending on what features you get on their rifles, because they're kind of a custom gun. You know, you're not going to find these at Walmart or even in your gun shop, you know, where they've ordered 10 of them. They're expensive, and they're kind of unique, and there's nobody that I'm aware of yet, like Chiappa or Marlin or anybody, offering, you know, like this gun in a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. They might be by the time you see this, you know, if it's been out there a year or 2. But right now, I don't think there's anybody doing that. All right. So your expense of the actual rifle, dramatically different. Dramatically. Okay. All right. If money's not an object, then what I say about all this is kind of going through a different filter. If it's tough for you to get together $500 or $600, you know, it's a different filter. You know, it has a different meaning for you, right? So you're not going to be leaning towards the Bighorn Armory at all. So anyway, let's shoot it. Okay, we just shot it recently, but I just want to shoot it again if you'll let me. All right. They both load pretty well. They're, you know, some lever guns have a problem with the loading gate and they want to cut you. Okay, let me go ahead and put that one in, back him out, get that one out. I don't know what I did there. Okay, keep that lever up all the way. Okay, so, but these don't tend to want to cut you or anything like that. I have had a few. There's what happened. It kind of went down on me. Let's hold it up in place. What, I had to put about 4 in. Let's put about 4 of those on the gong or something over there. Okay. We'll put them on that shoot some steel square over there. I think I know where to hold on that thing. Oh, man, put these on the gong. Listen to it ring. I just thought it needed a 50 caliber round on it. And yes, 50 caliber, that's what a 500 is. Both are fun to shoot. Like I say, so far in my highly interesting comparison and discussion here, the biggest difference is expense of the firearm itself, right? So, you know, that just is what it is. You're not going to get one of these for $500 or $600, okay? If you're determined to have a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum lever gun, it's just going to cost a lot of money right now. Right? Unless you're aware of something out there I'm not aware of, you know, share with us, okay? What else? Talks about capacity. If you're a hand loader, of course, the ammo costs are not as big an issue, right? Just not as big an issue. Now, as far as effectiveness, that's something, you know, you hunters can address better than I can. I did prowl around some forums where I Google and people discussing which one to buy, and because I've been kind of curious about that myself since getting this 500, because I think I told you in the first video I was a little surprised about what I had discovered in reading about that cartridge. I thought that a lot of people would just consider this a gimmick, you know, gimmick gun, firing that pistol round and everything, but it actually has a lot of respect coming out of a rifle. In fact, a lot of people who seem to be more knowledgeable about shooting and firearms and hunting and everything have made comments, you know, well, finally somebody got something that's actually useful for that cartridge, you know, a rifle. It needs to be on a rifle, you know, where it has some practical value, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're not crazy about revolvers and these big cartridges, obviously. So in that regard, I was talking about, where I was going with that, talking about hunting and effectiveness of the cartridge. Also in the forums, I seemed to, as I read more and more, and some of these were old threads. I couldn't find much that was posted just in recent months or years even. It seemed like so much of it went back to 2010 and 11, you know, 12. But I guess a lot of that hadn't changed, other than there's probably a lot more ammo out for the 500 now than there was in 2010 or 12. But the general consensus seemed to be, from what I read, that both get the job done. There's not a lot of difference, okay? And depending on whether you're a hand loader or not, as to whether it made sense for one or the other. If you already have a pistol or revolver for the 500, this one might make more sense, the Bighorn Armory, okay? The 4570, I know there was some talk about how it's a smaller cartridge, but it's got a better, what do you call it, not ballistic coefficient, but the sectional density. The sectional density is a little better on it, and it might be as effective or more effective for that reason, but you got more frontal size, you know, in a 50, of course, because it's a, are you ready? It's a bigger caliber. It's a 50. Well, that's a good illustration there. Those are the same bullet, essentially, looking, and you can see the difference maybe between a 50 and a 45, okay? But not a lot of difference. I mean, it's, you know, it's kind of like arguing maybe between a 40 and a 45 or something, 44 and a 45, I don't know. But there is a difference. It's just not dramatic, Some of it just comes down to what you want. You know, there's a cool factor, having a lever gun that fires, uh-oh, look what I see, that fires a 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, okay? And I just saw that watermelon, and I thought, you know what? It needs to go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I digress. But there's a cool factor having something in 50 caliber. Let's face it. There really is. Look at that watermelon over there. My Marlin. It's ruined. My gun is ruined. I'm so sorry. Oh man. Well, we're very good about cleaning these off once we finish. Believe it or not, we make a mess sometimes. On the trails or on the range or the guns, but we're pretty religious about cleaning them up. Oh, speaking of a mess, watermelon on my bullet. I might cry. So let's do a little test. How's that? I'm not 100% sure myself, so we'll just use the same ammo and compare. They're kind of similar in recoil and snap and bump and everything. And I'm going to shoot them both about 5 times here. 3, 4, 5. And then I'll tell you which one to buy. How's that? Hey, that's 5 rounds. There we go. Now, if we can find 5 of these, yeah, we got some more of that. No watermelon on that one. Okay. Nothing like a lever gun. Now, I can only shoot 5 in this one because it holds 4, like I said. That's one of the differences. 4 plus 1 versus 7 plus 1. If capacity is important to you, you might want to think about that. So I believe that was 4, so I'll have to, I don't know, I'll just put one in the chamber in a second. All right, so I got 4 in that one, 5 in this one. I don't know, let me shoot a little bit, okay? Or I could just pull out my Schofield. That's tempting too. I thought I'd put that on since I'm being a little bit of a cowboy today. All right, let's shoot the Bighorn Armory. Let's put one on this target. Well, let's see if we can do that again, John. Let's see if I can hit that bowling pin behind there. I'm gonna put one shot on it though. I got him. And let's hit a 2-liter. Woo! I guess we ought to take that pot out, that big pot with a 50, you think? Yeah, that'll do it. We got one left. Let's see how far it'll move that bowling pin. Send him across the field. Okay, I'm trying to remind myself of how handy it feels and all of that. It's a little heavier than the Marlin, but okay. You know how it sights and comes to the shoulder. All right. Of course, I'm 6'8", as you know, so anything I tell you there, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I'll put one in the chamber and then I'll put another one in the tube. So we'll have 5. All right, going into the chamber. She's hot. All right, now we got 5. All right, well, let's just shoot a couple things. All right. Well, for example, there's another bowling pin. Oh, there's another. Oh, I don't know if you can tell, but that buffalo is directly behind that 2-liter. I'm gonna see if I can get them both. Oh, maybe I heard it. I'll have to check the video. One more. Let's knock a ram over. Done. We did it. Okay. Marlin guide gun. As far as just feel, handiness, everything about it. Man. Like I said, I don't care for the porting. I can do without that. But I like this gun other than that. Yeah, had it a while. It was used when I bought it. And definitely used now. Not a bad old firearm, no doubt about that. So, which one should you buy? Because I know you'll buy the one I recommend, right? You really believe me when I tell you something. You better. I'm too old to lie. That's just opinion though. It's not lies or truth, it's just opinion. If I had to choose one, watermelon, John, how do we do that? We're gonna start putting those further away. If I had to choose one today, and the gods of guns said, I'm sorry, you're only allowed to have one 45-70 lever gun, or one of these two guns, or yeah, one of these two firearms is what I mean. You know, I'm probably going to surprise you, because I would actually go with my Marlin. I really would. It's a little bit lighter, but it's still got plenty of weight, and I like the straight stock. You know, I like it. Just feels better to me. It just feels, and it comes up for me a little bit better when I bring it up to go on target. I mean, I'm looking right through that ghost ring, and it's just right on. This one's not bad either, but when I bring it up, I've got to kind of get down a little bit further on it. And I'm not crazy about the pistol grip, and I know that's for a reason, recoil and everything. That was intentional. You know, they made it that way intentionally, and felt like that was better. But I don't like that. This is awfully thick and odd feeling to me right there. Okay, as far as ideal comfort, now it works and it's great, but I don't like that as well. I do like the fact that, of course, it's based on the '92 Winchester in 1886 and all that. But I don't know. I find that where that's kind of sticking out there a little funky. But you know, it's okay. You know, if you want a 50 caliber in a lever gun, this is kind of the ultimate. You know, and it's you know, it's a beautiful gun. It's well made. But I still would I would take my old 45-70. I'm a little biased because I like historical cartridges. That's part of it too. And I don't know. Somehow it seems just a little handier. Not quite as much wood or as much steel in it, and not quite as heavy. And it's just perfect as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, I'm not bad mouthing the Bighorn Armory because I like it, but I would take the Marlin over that. All right. So, if you're worried about spending a bunch more money to get a better gun, you know, that's not the case. You don't have to spend a lot more money to get a better gun, a better thumper, a better mid-range thumper. Okay. So that's where I would choose if I had to choose between these two firearms. All right. You know, and it all comes down, as I said, I'm rambling too much as usual, I know, but it comes down to the caliber you prefer, and maybe whether you hand load or not, whether you have a revolver already chambered in a 500, whether you have some other firearms chambered in the 45-70, you know, that kind of thing. But as far as the cartridge, there's just not that much difference. So. Yeah, I mean, in terms of effectiveness, I know for some people they think that the 50 cal and the 500 is the ultimate round. You know, it's like a hand grenade and it'll blow up anything, and it is pretty powerful. But probably nothing that the 45-70 won't do. You know, a lot of versatility, a lot of different rounds for the 45-70, just like the 500. The only thing is, you can't put some of them in older 45-70s. But for Marlins and a lot of the single shots, they'll withstand just about anything that you can put in there, okay, that's reasonable. All right, so just some things to consider. So anyway, that's kind of my take on them. Okay, both great guns, and I lean towards the Marlin if I had to choose one of them, if I had to live with one of them. Fortunately for right now, I can live with both of them, but if I had to choose, it would be the good old Marlin guide gun. It's been a favorite of mine for a long time. Even before I owned one, I wanted one, and it's a nice gun. So there you go. So anything else I need to tell them, John? We appreciate you supporting the people who support us. Again, as I was saying earlier, we only take support from people, entities, where it doesn't conflict with our independence. Okay, so we value that highly. We always have. We've talked about it through the years a lot of new subscribers, of course, every day and every week, and it's a good time to point it out. Like I said, there's been some talk about some of that around, and so we want to remind you that's how we operate, how we've always operated. Oh my gosh, if we turn down some stuff, but we just do what we do, and we enjoy doing it, and we ain't gonna change. Life is good.
Oh man, you guys watched that whole video? Well, not one to judge, but while you're here, I wanted to let you guys know about our friends over at SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. They're a fully accredited online distance learning program. They offer hands-on experience. They also accept GI Bill. You can get certified in gunsmithing or get an associate's degree in firearms technology. So check them out when you get a chance over at sdi.edu. Also, some of the new targets you may have noticed on our range are from shootsomesteel.com. So maybe give their website a look. And also the Vaultec safe that you might have seen on our shooting table. You can check those out at vaultecsafe.com. Also, don't forget to check out our website, hickok45.com. You can find all of our links to the different social media sites that you can find us on, like full30.com, the real Hickok45 on Twitter, on Instagram, Hickok45 on Twitter, Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also the Hickok45 and Son YouTube channel. So just go to the website and you'll find most of that stuff, and our t-shirts, of course. You can find all of our merchandise for sale there on hickok45.com. And man, I guess you guys are gonna have to find something else to watch on YouTube, because that's it. That's all I have to say. Appreciate it.